missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a fun creative color transformation today. So this client, she used to be a creative color client, and then we pretty much got her back to this blonde tone because she had a wedding to go to and couldn't really have colorful hair. But the wedding has now passed, so we are going to add in some color into her hair. Our inspo today is going to be like a really pretty bright sunset color. We typically will do brighter tones on her because she goes about like 4 months in between like touch-ups, so we want something that is going to be nice and beautiful against her skin tone but also last a little bit longer than your typical pastel. So I'm going to start by weaving in the back nape area, and I'm pretty much just trying to follow my last weave pattern. I've already done like just one highlight around the hairline, just kind of to frame the hairline. I like to do a hairline foil all around the head because if my client ever puts her hair up, she will see a lot of beautiful color there. So as I'm going in, after I do those hairline sections, I just take the back section into one and just kind of start foiling up the middle back here. And I'm leaving about, I would say, like ½ an inch in between these sections and just kind of re-weaving or slicing wherever I did last time. So there I can kind of see where I had sliced previously, and so I'm just going in, retouching that root, and then just kind of getting some more of the dark that I left out last time. So prior to doing any type of coloring service, if a client is getting like a big chop or a haircut, I normally will cut their hair before the color, just to kind of get off the dead ends and the bulk of the hair so we don't waste any color, and I can start coloring according to where the haircut is. But I always finish my haircut after I do the whole color at the very end to kind of personalize and just tweak it and double check that everything is nice and even for my clients. I find that it's just a lot easier because I prefer to dry cut, so I normally will cut them before the color and after the color as well, whenever I do any type of transformation. So I've already done the whole back, and I just continued that center section all the way up until the front money piece there. And for her money piece, I did a few just baby lights to kind of blend the front together, and then as I'm doing the sides, connecting the top to right above the ear, I'm taking 2 baby lights as well to kind of frame the face. And then after I do this last hairline piece around the face, I move on to do one more hairline foil right above the ear, and then I'll continue and connect the front and the back with those side sections. And for my lightener that I've used all throughout her hair, I'm just using the Schwarzkopf Blonde Me lightener, and I usually will do like a lower developer in that first bowl and then stick with just 20 volume for the rest of the head. And again, since we are doing something that is going to grow out really pretty on her, I do leave some negative space in between my foils, so my foils aren't technically back to back because that would give her a really solid effect, but I would say my sections are still about a ½ inch to 1/4 of an inch depending on where it's laying. So on the sides here, since I'm connecting the front and the back and I've already pretty much done the hairline, I am leaving a little bit more dimension on the sides here than I would on that top mohawk section, because this is going to be on the underneath of that halo and where she parts her hair. But if I was on that top section, I usually will do about a 1/4 inch apart from each other when I'm sectioning out my slices. And majority of the head, I'm doing a lot of slices. In the back, I did a few chunky weaves because I could see where my chunky weave pattern was. But for majority of the head, I am kind of just switching her on over to do more slices so that we can have higher impact with our sections and foils, since she does wait about 4 months in between appointments. I also used to do more chunky weaves like all over the head, but I find that just like slicing the head gives it more of a blended look, and I feel like doing too many chunky weaves, again, just depending on like what look you're going for, can make it look a little too chunky. So I will now try to do more slices than chunky weaves if I'm doing like the top of the head. And then for the lift, we wanted her to get to a really pretty level like 9 and 10 in some areas, because since we're going to be doing a really bright fashion tone or creative color tone, I do want it to fade really pretty and still fade nicely and have it fade into like a pastel color and last her as long as possible. So that is why we are lifting her as light as like a level 9 and 10. So now I'm going to start applying her creative color, and for the root, I'm just using straight Cupid from the Pull Bright Semis. I go ahead and will work in quadrants, so I'm doing this front left quadrant of her head first and just kind of putting on that root color. I'm going to be melting this color into 2 more additional colors to create that really beautiful ombre sunset look. So the next color after applying Cupid on the root, I'm going to be applying Nuclear, and I added a bit of clear to the Nuclear formulation because Nuclear is very pigmented and very strong and can be a little bit brighter than just Cupid on its own. So whenever I do like an ombre or color melt, I try to keep the colors in the same like level per se, like as far as brightness. And since Cupid is on the root, I don't mind Cupid being the most vibrant because this is like her root shade or root shadow essentially. So having this color be a little bit on the brighter side is okay, and then melting the brighter tone at the root into something that is a bit softer as it gets towards the ends just makes sense to me. So after I pretty much rooted this, I started to apply the Nuclear and Clear formulation, and then after I applied the Nuclear and Clear formulation, I went ahead and just put straight lemon on the ends. And lemon is a really like soft yellow. It's not like super bright or neon-y, but I chose it because again, I wanted something that would give a really pretty gradient as far as vibrancy, so that essentially the brightest color is at the root, and then as it gets closer towards the end, even though we're doing really bright tones, it does essentially get a little softer and not as vibrant. Now there are a lot of different ways that you could be color melting and creating this like ombre type of vibe. I personally like to do one color at a time because I just feel like it's a little bit quicker opposed to like constantly wiping my hands and melting. But doing it this way, sometimes you have to be a little bit careful with the blending of the colors, because once you let the colors kind of sit on the hair, they do start to settle into the hair and make it a little bit harder to blend the 2 colors together. So to kind of avoid any type of lines when doing this technique, I will take my sections vertically around the head, and that will just automatically like diffuse any type of lines. So after I applied the orange color, I went ahead and applied the yellow color on the ends, and then I just let her color sit on for about like 25 minutes at room temperature, and then we completely rinse this all out with cold water. Alrighty guys, this is the finished look. I was so excited when we started blow drying it because we could see how beautiful and vibrant this color was. We have done something super similar on her in the past, but I feel like this one just came out so much better because of how vibrant these colors look, and she was just so excited to have her colorful hair back after trying to go back to blonde. But yeah, as this color starts to fade, it is going to fade into a really pastel version of this Sunset palette before it turns back into blonde. And by the time she comes back in for her roots in about 4 months, this color should be pretty much all washed out. I feel like generally pink tones or warmer tones like these do kind of fade a bit quicker than cool tones. So by the time she comes back in, she'll have a pretty clean canvas for us to do pretty much any color that she wants next time. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.